What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Let's be real for a second. There are some legends in Apex that get way too much hype and I'm here to set the record straight. Today, we're talking about 5 legends that are totally overrated, and if you're maining one of these, it's time for a reality check and you need to think about who told you they were OP. I'm not saying these legends are bad, they're certainly not, but I'm here to explain why these legends should come down a few notches in the rankings, because they're just not as good as everyone thinks. So before you hit that into the void escape or start zipping around as Pathfinder, stick around because you might be making some big mistakes. Starting off with the first one, we have the legend I've just mentioned, and that's Pathfinder. Now Pathfinder's fun, no doubt, but that's just not the same as effective sometimes. His hitbox has always been a target practice dream for enemy teams. Seriously, when I see a Pathfinder come up to fight me, I honestly think I've just hit the jackpot. Like, you literally cannot miss hitting a Pathfinder in close range. His grapples, while flashy, and they are cool when you do feel like Spider-Man at times, they can send you into the worst spots if you're not careful. And the zipline, well, that's practically a beacon saying, hey enemies, come follow me. Pathfinder is excellent for mobility and traveling around the map, but in fighting situations, when it actually matters, this is where I feel that he's overrated. Now, obviously, if you're skilled with the Pathfinder, like many of you I'm sure are, that's not to say that you can't cause some serious damage and serious threat for the other team. Of course you can. But this list is mainly focusing on the average / above average players who main these legends. Overall, I just think Pathfinder mains get way too ambitious with their mobility and where they can actually go, only to find themselves trapped and out of options. Up next, we probably have the legend that's looked upon least highly in this list, and that's Octane. Look, speed is fun, we know. We all love flying across the map like a caffeinated squirrel, but Octane mains are infamous for just stimming themselves into fights they cannot win, leaving teammates in the dust. The stim is a double-edged sword. It's fast, sure, but the health loss adds up quick, and once you're low, good luck in that fight. His launch pad can help reposition, but let's be real, most Octane just use it to send the whole team into a third-party death trap. He's the best at rotating! Yeah, maybe by yourself, but as a whole team, you have one jump pad, maybe 2, for a long rotation that's just not going to cut it. If you are looking at rotation, you are actually better off looking at someone like Pathfinder or Valkyrie. Now, in the right hands, his launch pad can be overpowered, especially when used for fast escapes or to reposition the team across the map. But realistically, most Octanes just use that jump pad to just crash land in the middle of a squad or in the middle of a fight, and they're the first ones to get third party, and then they complain why that happened. We all know why that happened. Why can't you see it? Of course, if you're a skilled Octane and you use the stim to bob and weave unpredictably in a fight, that can make it hard for enemies to track and it can allow you to outmaneuver them. But most Octanes just can't do that, let's be real, they're just not that guy. Now, Octane does have a good kit, and like Pathfinder and the rest of the legends, if used in the right hands, he can be really good, and he's definitely fun to play, I'm not denying that bit. But even though he's not looked upon super high, especially in ranked, I still do think that his kit is just too tempting sometimes, but it's not wise to actually use it most of the time, and that's why he's on the list. Now, when I started making this list, this legend was the first one that came to mind, and it's Wraith. Wraith mains, we get it. She's iconic. But at this point, she's more of a nostalgia pick than a meta powerhouse. Wraith in the right hands can be deadly, but realistically, you're not phased. Stop trying to be that guy. You're not that guy. Everyone loves phasing out of danger, but after all the nerfs to her tactical cooldown and the longer activation time, it's just not the panic button it once was. That tiny hitbox, sure, that's definitely a very good benefit, and if you are like a noob, you don't use the legend's abilities, Wraith is actually very good to use because of her hitbox. But realistically, out of her 3 abilities, you're only going to use Out of the Void. Who here can tell me that they use her ultimate on a regular basis?
You liar!
Don't get me wrong, in certain situations, and when it calls for it to be used, is actually godly. It's godly. But when I'm using Wraith, I hardly ever use that portal. In about 10 games, I might use it once, maybe twice. Now, like I said before, and I can't keep uttering this enough because I know there's going to be comments down below saying, oh yeah, what about this? What about this? I'm talking about like the average and general player and the general playstyle that they use. If you're cracked at Apex, yes, Wraith is actually probably one of the best picks. Now, I will say her portal is really good for repositioning out of the rings. You can get Wraith go ahead a bit, but if you and your team start off running to the ring at the same time, she only gets a bit of a speed boost when she's in her ultimate and in her tactical. Like, most of the time, you'll just be waiting when the portal opens up, and by that time, if you just kept on running, you would have been behind. You would have been almost behind her anyway. One of the situations I see a lot, which is actually super clutch, is when you're downed, you can get a Wraith to just phase in, open the portal, and they can send you back to your team. We can get revived. That's really cool. But like I said, that's a specific situation. And overall, I think we can all agree, Wraith is a very overrated legend. I haven't even mentioned her passive. Her passive is probably the most useless passive on planet Earth. Can anybody comment down below and tell me a more useless passive than hearing voices when they're aiming at you? You don't even know where they're coming from. Only like late game, very, very late game where you're wondering where that team is, can that come in clutch? Other than that, you might as well just not have had a passive. Now, the next one, I will say, is not as overrated as the rest of them, but I'd still think Bloodhound is still a bit overrated. Now, Bloodhound used to be the go-to recon legend, but this season, their scan is just not the game changer it once was. The cooldown is way longer, the scan's area of effect has been reduced, and let's face it, everyone's pretty much figured out how to play around it. When you use Bloodhound's tactical, you can literally see where it's come from. So you know what direction it is and roughly where they are. So that kind of takes the element of surprise away. And in some cases, you would be better off just kind of hearing a gunshot, creeping towards it, and then figuring out where they are from their footsteps or whatever, because at least then the enemy team don't know where you are. In sometimes it's actually a hindrance rather than an advantage. Now, his passive is actually cool. I think Bloodhound is actually one of the few legends where all three abilities are actually good, but it's quite hard to read. I've been playing this game for so long, and I've been maining Bloodhound for a while. Like on and off, I switch in between legends. But I still can't figure out how to like fully read the passive. Can anybody tell me down below how to fully read the passive? Like, obviously I know like it shows you like when the footsteps were around, blah, blah, blah. But like, how do I go and follow that path? Sometimes it says like, oh, this person's been here like 40 seconds ago. And so, okay, so I'm trying to follow the path. And then there's just no other trace. What am I meant to do with that information 40 seconds ago? Her ultimate, yes, her. Not many people know this, but she is a her. Her ultimate is probably one of the best ultimates in the game. It's amazing. When I see a Bloodhound activate their ultimate, I'm actually running. If I'm not backed up with my team, if it's a 1v1, I'm out of there. But the thing is, they have the speed boost, so I'm going to die. But even if it's a 1v2, I'm a bit nervous. I'm shaky. Because that ultimate is still really cool. Because of the speed boost, it also has sometimes a different use. If you want to run into zone or if you want to run away from enemies, you can still use that speed boost. Because she goes pretty rapid, I'm not going to lie. She goes pretty rapid. But one of the main reasons why Bloodhound is on this list, like I've said before, is if you know how to use his abilities, great. But the tactical can actually disadvantage you in some instances. And in the ultimate, if you activate your ultimate and you get OP, you get that speed boost, you get to see people in red. If you're not good at the game, if you can't hit your shots, which let's be real, most people can't. Even I can't sometimes. What is the point of going ahead and being that unstoppable juggernaut if you're still not going to do anything with it? Also, with the addition of Seer and the buffing of Crypto, I actually think some of them have better abilities in some instances. I still think Bloodhound is better than all three, but in certain situations, Seer is really good and Crypto is also amazing. Now, the next one and the very last one, I'm a bit cautious of putting this on the list. And disclaimer, I don't think she fits in the same category as the other four. I still think she's very, very good legend and is fairly warranted in terms of where she places, but I still think she could be dragged a few notches down, and that's Horizon. Wait. Don't stop sending me angry comments, hate mail, saying you're going to kill my family. Let me explain first. The reason why I've put Horizon on this list, and this is kind of like a 4.5 pick rather than a 5th pick, is that when I think about her abilities, her passive is cool. Her passive is cool and it's good to like run away. But really, when you're falling off if you're falling like off a vertical drop, that's when it comes in clutch. If you're already sliding like off for like a mountain or something, down a cliff or whatever, the passive doesn't really help as much compared to a normal legend. Like they're already still sliding down the hill. The gravity lift is definitely, I think we can all agree, is our strongest asset. The gravity lift, you can take your whole team up to a high ground position and just dominate from above. But her black hole is just so overrated. Like maybe it's me not being able to use it, but I think out of the many times that I've used Horizon, I think a black hole has only maybe like worked once. I always hope like gravity lift, chuck the black hole down. I literally carry so many arc cells, so many nades, spam them all down around the black hole, and they just never hit. I think once I've literally a shield's broken, and that's it. That's what my ultimate does, yeah? Break one shield. If you use this in a building, that is when this can be deadly, and I don't think people realize how insane that could be, because then how are you going to get out of it? Even Octane can't really get out of that. But there are just so many legends that can counter a black hole. Now, obviously, now I've spoken on the gravity lift being good, and the gravity lift is really good. They've also nerfed this. You can no longer strafe as much when you're in the lift, and it just kind of makes you like a bouncing duck. Like when you get up to the top of the lift, like it's quite easy to hit you while you're still medding. Like, to be fair, it does buy you 4-5 seconds, but in some instances, if there's 2 people on you, a gravity lift is just not going to get you out of that situation. Let's be real. Let's not forget that when you go up in that gravity lift, you have to come down sometime. As a famous man once said, what goes up must come down. And if you come down and you've got a whole team just waiting for you to land to just absolutely fry you, well, that doesn't really help your situation then, does it? Overall, I think Horizon is definitely one of the best legends in the game. I think most of these legends on this list are still one of the best legends in the game. But yeah, no hate to Horizon, no hate to all of them, except maybe Wraith, because Wraith is, I think we can all agree, Wraith is just super overrated. But the rest of them, let me know what you guys think. Comment down below, what legends am I missing from this list? Would you replace some? And also start the conversation. What are the 5 underrated legends in Apex Legends? Because I might be doing a video on that soon. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you have a nice rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.